Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and staying. I'm so excited to bring on stage the director and the subject of the film. So please give a big round of applause for Crystal Moselle.
Yeah, we have Makwinda here. Narayana, Govinda, Bhagavan, Eddie, and Suzanne, their mother, is with us tonight.
And we have enough chairs for everyone, which
Perfect.
is awesome.
Perfect. You want to sit?
Thank you so much for everyone for being here tonight. I'm just going to ask a few questions to Crystal and to you, and then we're going to open it to the audience because I'm sure everybody wants to participate and join in the conversation. The movie got a lot of press, so I'm sure everybody is a little bit familiar with how the movie started. So you met them in the street on the Lower East Side about 5 years ago?
Yeah, I was walking down First Avenue and they ran past me through the crowd and something about them intrigued me. They had this long hair and sunglasses and they're all wearing black and I just instinctually ran after them.
That seems a very normal thing to do. And I'm glad we didn't run away. At what point, like after talking to them, and did you decide that you wanted to make a movie about them, or how did that come about as a process?
Yeah, I mean, it was very organic. When I met them, they were excited that I was a filmmaker, and they wanted to get into the business of filmmaking, as Govinda said. And we started hanging out at the park, like looking at cameras together, and then we just, I don't know, it was this natural thing that happened. I would film them at the park, and then they asked me to come over to their house, and I just always had a camera in hand, and eventually I said, I would love to, document your life, or maybe it's like them making a short film. That's kind of how it started. It was all like, kind of, it was all about creativity.
Creativity of their part and your part too.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to make things, and I think I was a soundboard for them, taking their art form to the next level, because they had been doing reenactments, and so we were, I think I initially helped them, make their first short film, and then we just continued to document their lives, and here we are.
And the whole process took about 5 years. So when did you know you were like ready to finish and wrap up the film?
I think that I wanted to see a transformation in my characters, in these guys, and I think that the moment that I knew that we had like a full film was, I think, when the shot where we see Suzanne walking in the apple orchard, and she goes to Makwinda.
It's a beautiful moment, so it seemed like a perfect ending. Although I'm sure it was a very complex process to edit the film, and you had to keep it like the end is really beautiful.
It was. We had a really wonderful editor and not CD on this project, and we're very lucky.
So maybe we can start talking together too. When you met Crystal and she started talking about her project, or maybe just like hanging out, was it considered like work for you, or what made you like inclined to be so open with her and show all your work, your creation in terms of film, and be like including her in your family, really?
Wow, that's loud. Filming Crystal filming us felt more like a hangout more than work, or it was like playtime because it was the whole circle of the filmmaking world. Reenactments was part of our world, and we recognized filmmakers filming their subjects, and I think we saw it as a complete circle of filmmaking. It was all like a hangout, really. It didn't felt like work or time to do this or time to do it. It was just hanging out most of the time and being filmed while hanging out.
So it wasn't like, oh, Crystal is coming back, like we need to like act out, or...
We were glad that Crystal was coming back. We invited her over, and it was a success, our first dinner all together. And
Was it lasagna? Yes, lasagna.
Yes, it was lasagna,
It's always lasagna.
as Govinda says. You want to collaborate on lasagna? You made it.
Well, I was
These
the
guys.
saucier.
It was delicious.
And that's because Goodfellas was a passionate movie that we were passionate about. And they've always had scenes of lasagna and Italian food, so that's where that comes from.
And Suzanne, how did you feel like when you met Crystal? Like, were you comfortable with her and like happy to share also, you know, like your son and?
When I met Crystal, it felt like very natural to just let her in and open up our home to her and our hearts to her, because she's quite an incredible woman, really. You know, I have to hand it to her. And it didn't really feel like we were being filmed and it's like, okay, now, you know, we have to present ourselves in some sort of way to be on camera. It was very, very natural, and it was always just like talking. And Crystal was just like a friend who would come and just be with us and hang out and have fun with everyone. Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're passionate about film and you have a very interesting collection of film. Had you seen like documentaries before, like in your early cinephilia time, or were you aware about, you know, this style of filmmaking?
Well, earlier on, we didn't approach documentary, that form of cinema. That came later on as we worked more with Crystal, and then she started throwing names around, like Ross Kaufman for Born in the Brothels, and for Crumb, what's the guy's name? Well, she started showing us the world of documentaries, and that's when we were coming full circle into breaking out into the world, and then our knowledge was growing more and more. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I think you said it.
They love the Heart of Darkness.
That was the documentary we introduced to Crystal, because that was the one documentary that captivated us, because it showed how much work and how hard it is to make a movie, but also that passion of getting it done. So,
also The Secret Life of Plants.
Sorry.
Thank you for introducing me to that.
Which one?
The Secret Life of Plants.
That's a good documentary.
You could come back and create a little documentary section for everyone and see what you start showing with them. It'd be fun.
We will do that.
The movie's opening tomorrow. It's going to be playing for a while, so we'll have you back and you can talk about all the documentaries you loved. You still keep up with like film world? Do you see a lot of movies now, or you know, like are you still just as passionate about like watching movies as also as maybe making movies?
yes, we are, and now we're always watching it in the theater.
Oh yeah.
We always had this little VHS and this TV, and we realized when we saw The Fighter, our first movie by David O. Russell, that was the way you watch movies. You're just part of this giant group of people sharing that same dream and watching it in front of a giant screen. That did it for us.
We believe in the big screen and sharing with an audience. That's
I know,
our
this theater,
favorite part.
it's amazing theater.
Do you get free tickets when you go somewhere? Like, do you have free access to movies, or do you have to pay every time you go?
We did at Sundance.
Oh yeah. Do you get recognized in the street now, or is it like maybe sometimes? Or?
Well, that's an interesting question, because now I'm working in film as a freelancer. I get recognized by people who work in documentary and people who work in independent film, because now that they've heard about this movie and they've seen us in these news outlets, the New York Times, the LA Times, and especially IndieWire, that's how I get recognized so far.
Well, I'm sure when you walk around together, I mean, even if you're not dressed in Reservoir Dogs, like, you would attract attention. But as soon as the movie's going to be playing, you're going to have to be ready, you know. You're going to need double sunglasses, I think.
I think we're ready for that, yeah.
And signing a lot of autographs.
Hey now.
I want to know if there's anyone in the audience who want to ask a question. Yes?
I was wondering what it's like going from being a sort of very cloistered, small community all together to kind of, in front of hundreds of people all the time, or at Sundance, where you're kind of like a star attraction or something like that. What it's like to go from that small to that big that quickly.
Great question, because this is kind of the stuff of dreams. When we were doing all these reenactments and learning about all these movies, we also knew what happens behind the scenes and where these films go, the ceremonies and the awards, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and the festivals, ultimately. And we were always wishing for that day to happen. So, it's here.
You seem very well adjusted for people going to fame so suddenly. You know, we all have example from the tabloids about kids going famous too quickly and just going crazy. So
I'm a fan of large crowds too. So.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I read somewhere that one or two of you are no longer living in that house, that you're living on your own. Please show the documentary. Which one?
Okay. It's just one of you that moved out, right?
Just me.
Okay.
No, this is the eldest. This is Bhagavan. He's 23. We're the twins. We're 22. And I moved to Brooklyn in Bed-Stuy, so I have my own place, and I live with roommates, and it's been awesome so far.
You have the question? Yes.
I was just wondering what each of your favorite movies is.
Question about favorite movies, including Crystal. Everyone, yeah, you start.
I don't know what my favorite movie is.
It could change. I have a different favorite movie every day, so it's okay if it's not the same tomorrow.
This is true.
I think when I was younger, my favorite movie was Crumb.
That's a very good choice.
The Dark Knight.
The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2.
Citizen Kane.
Recently, it's been The Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis, and yeah, he has really, really cool hair.
Probably the Mad Max trilogy. Awesome.
Did you see the new Mad Max? Or?
No, and I'm not going to.
No? We will check on that. Everybody says it's really good. And Suzanne?
I would have to say, I cannot choose one movie, but it would probably be Jeremiah Johnson, Out of Africa, and The Sound of Music, I think.
Very good. Yes?
I know you guys all have new names, and then your dad invoked Jesus at one point toward the end of the film. So I was just wondering how religion influenced your upbringing, if you still have any kind of religious affiliation or theology. Or
So it's a question about religious this is a question about a religious upbringing and influence from religion on their life.
I ignored all of that. My religion is movies.
Well, Dad was fascinated by all religions, really. But he was a Hare Krishna devotee when he met Mom, and he was joining their temples and whatnot. It sort of faded away as we got older, and he had all of us. So in the beginning, he chose to have these names, all different names of God, but I don't think he really kept it at heart. It was just something, a foundation to go off on.
Yes.
The short film that we watched you making part of, has that been shown anywhere in a festival or in New York?
So it's a question about the short film that they're making in the film.
The film at the end of the movie is currently in editing right now. Coming out after we have time to put it together.
But they have another short film that's coming out next week that they did with Vice that's pretty brilliant and beautiful.
Look for it June 19th, please.
What is it called?
Mirror Heart.
I'm going to go for the back. Yes, there.
Just curious if you could speak to what it was like living and growing up in New York City and then seeing it represented in film, and all the films that I've seen and the different stories.
Has everyone heard that? Yes.
Well, New York City is a character in a lot of movies that we would reference from. So movies like Taxi Driver, we would use that as kind of a window to see what growing up in the city is like. Although we didn't fully understand it. It's really a Woody Allen movie more than anything. And I think it came natural when we broke out and just started exploring the city for the first time, because we were sheltered away from it. So we couldn't really give you a full answer on what it's like to grow up in New York City, except that we've seen it through the movies.
I was just curious, I guess, to see if, like, did you relate to what you saw, or was there a disconnect?
A disconnect is that people are nice in general, so not everybody's out to get you.
Yes, over there?
Yeah. My question, what I was feeling when I saw you walking around in New York was there's a lot of rules about traffic and the way you walk down the street in New York, and yet I would think you could only pick up by doing it a lot as a young people. How did didn't you bump into people or?
I hope you didn't bump into people.
They kind of made weight for us when we were walking.
You take the whole sidewalk and nobody can go
I
across.
guess we looked like a pack of wolves they didn't want to mess with. I don't know.
Is that a real nickname, the Wolfpack?
What's that?
Is that a real nickname for when you're together?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was incredibly curious about your unusual situation growing up. And there were a lot of things that were sort of hinted at the film, but just little vignettes of, like, why did the SWAT team come? Did your grandmother ever make it to New York City? What led to you moving out of the apartment? I was wondering if you're interested in sharing more about that, or you think that that's something that you want to keep private amongst yourselves?
Well, for me, the SWAT team's a funny story because probably an inside job in the apartment, you see these dudes with prop guns, and of course it's going to alarm some people because we see it differently. We don't think anything of it growing up because that's a way of being sheltered, and you don't see it as alarming as other people do. So that was kind of a hilarious story. did comment on the hair, so.
They never knew why the SWAT team came in. That was. They were. I'm suspecting maybe because there was.
They were looking for someone else, I guess, that looked similar to us, and they broke in by mistake. They said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that,
got the
guys."
wrong
Like,
address.
whatever. We found it seriously funny as well.
I'd like to comment about Grandma. Grandma never made it to New York City, though last weekend, I think maybe a week and a half ago, all of us flew to Michigan to meet Grandma and my whole family. So, yeah, that was great. Just, it was a wonderful reunion and just an incredible connection on their part with all of their cousins and aunts and uncles. And on my family's part, there were like 35 people there that came together from all over the country to meet them. So it was really wonderful. Yeah.
A good change of scenery, too.
Crystal, did you go with them, or do you?
I did go with them.
Okay. So you still stay very close together. I mean, obviously now the movie is coming out, so you're going to spend a lot of time together. But the connection is strong enough that you.
Yeah. I'm helping them start their production company, Wolfpack Pictures, and they have a couple projects happening. They're coming out. One thing that's actually coming out tomorrow. So look out for them.
So I would say maybe also as a filmmaker, you benefited from like meeting them. I mean, it's a reciprocal.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we collaborate and they inspire me and hopefully I inspire them. And I don't know. It's kind of, yeah. This is like the first step to like this journey that we're going on together. So.
Where?
What does your father think of this film?
When he saw it, he found it to be honest and truthful. He gave it a thumbs up, in other words. Thank you.
All the way in the back there?
Since you guys have ventured out into the city, do you have any favorite bars or restaurants or museums or anywhere that comes to mind that you really like since you started venturing out?
I have a new favorite one where we had our premiere party on Tuesday, Santos.
Party House.
Thanks.
Nighthawk. Just saying.
Oh yeah, you live in Brooklyn, that's why.
Yep.
Otherwise it'd be Film Society. Anyone else? You're keeping it secret?
Well, I don't remember mine, so.
Well, I'm underage, but any bar that has a Jack and Coke, I'll be there.
I think most of them, it's pretty safe to say. There on the side?
So just bravo to all of you, first and foremost. I'm wondering, what does fear look like now? How has fear changed?
She asked, what does fear look like now?
Well, fear's not a factor anymore in our story. I think we had a little bit of fear because we didn't really know what to expect when we first broke out. I think we've done really well under the circumstances. I don't think there's any fear there.
Any fear of public speaking, which is the number one.
What's that?
Yes.
It's always said that public speaking is the scariest thing you can go through to life. So I think you're doing really well.
I don't know. I think we did well.
Yeah.
Do you want to comment?
The only thing I would say is I think our fears right now, I don't know if I speak for everyone else, is probably, how do you ask a girl out?
Okay,
That's the case with a lot of people, so.
You can take her to the movies.
We do.
At the film center.
Yeah, here at the Film Society. We have a lot of romantic films. We just did a tribute to Robert Redford, so you know, for you. There? Okay, it's a question about Quentin Tarantino.
Indirectly. He knows about the film. He's written a few emails that we've relayed to them. So hopefully in the future.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
He hasn't watched the film, but he's watched some of the reenactments that I sent him like a couple of years ago.
Oh. Okay. There's someone on that side, yes?
When you guys went to Sundance, was there anyone that you were really excited to meet or that you did meet that had an influence on you?
Did you meet anyone in Sundance that had influence on you?
We were excited and wanting to meet Robert Redford because he was basically the one who started it all.
Crystal got to meet her.
Yeah,
Got to meet him.
Crystal got, yeah.
But for me, I was very excited about. Well, we all did meet Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, who wrote Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight, and Memento, and we were really excited about that. Along with him, for me, I was really excited to have met Greta Gerwig and Britt Marling.
Okay, so you went for the pretty girls. Yes, Vera?
Yes, so are all five of you going to stay in film, or, you know, once you sort of broke out of your situation, is anyone interested in science or, you know, something else besides film?
Well, me and my other brother, Glenn, are into music, rock and roll, as you can see what I'm wearing. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start a band, and I mean, one of the idol I met was Marky Ramone. Met him day before yesterday, jammed with him. Awesome.
For the record, the brother Glenn is right behind you guys. You jammed with Marky Ramone. You're a star, Glenn.
I just have to say, at our party, they did this impromptu performance with Marky Ramone. Eddie and Glenn did, and it was spot on, and it blew everybody's minds.
Look for it on our Instagram.
Or YouTube.
I'm working now in film. I'm a freelance camera operator, and my passion is to work as a cinematographer and shoot large feature films.
Bhagavan, what are you doing?
I've been a Jivamukti yoga teacher for about 3 years now, and for 2 years I have been a full-time dancer at the Hip Hop Dance Conservatory, and I am now studying to work as rehearsal director and one of our main research facilities, which is medical research. So that's one of the things that I'm aiming for, and that's what I'm doing right now. In terms of filming, if Mukunda or Govinda start ringing my phone in the middle of the night saying that they want to shoot something, yeah, I'll be there.
I'm working at a media production company as an office and on-set PA. I do freelance work as well as an art director assistant, and I'm directing short films as well with my bros, and maybe in the future, something else.
There was never a time where I didn't want to be a filmmaker. I still have the highest aspirations, but my biggest goal is to pursue film, the film media. I'm really not into digital. It's the digital revolution, so I'm hoping to go bring film back and work on that medium and make features with film. But alongside of that, along with that, I'm still passionate about being an activist. I currently work for a public advocacy group called NIPERG. You might have heard of us, where we played a big part in the campaign that banned hydrofracking in New York State last December. So, thank you. And we are currently working to transition New York's energy from fossil fuels to renewable energy to set a standard for the rest of the country and for the world to reduce global climate pollution and move forward to a more sustainable future, to where energy is more sustainable, reliable, and pollution-free, and more safe for all species on Earth. Well, I'm also working on human rights issues as well.
Next question. No. Yes.
Question for Crystal. At what point did you decide to tell the story as a group rather than individually? Like, I noticed they don't have their names under them as they're speaking, so it kind of becomes a little confusing at times. It's almost like a story told as a group rather than individual.
So it's a question for Crystal, like when did you decide to make the movie focusing on the group as opposed to individual?
I think that, within the edit, we found that that was the best way to tell the story, because when we're telling the backstory, it's really about them and their family. Also, we had initially tried to do lower thirds on the boys, like towards the beginning of the movie, and it actually made things more confusing, and it seemed to flow better this way. So, but when you're making a documentary, there's problems, and that was one of the problems that we had to kind of make some big decisions about. And it seems that I feel like it works best this way.
So we're going to take 2 more questions. So yes.
What's been the process of keeping your family relationships and balancing making new friendships?
So it's a question about keeping the relationship in the family as well as making new friendships outside of the family.
Well, we're always networking and making new friends, and we still hold the same passion for film, and we're sort of a film team ourselves with Crystal and her team that made this movie. So our dynamic is there, and it just continues to grow as you network with different people, because it is a business of relationships. So.
Okay.
I think Mom should have the last word. What do you think about all of this?
I like this guy.
What's happened? You had your fears, and I loved when you said your husband didn't think the timing was right, and you said so wisely, well, it must be right because it's happening. So what's happening now to you as you see all of this unfold?
That's a very interesting question. Family-wise, I see us growing and changing and evolving as a group of people who really love each other and care about each other and stick together and help to support each other. I've always felt that, their support for me and my support for them. And I also feel like it's a real time of empowerment, also for me personally and also for them. So it's really a wonderful thing that's happening. And you know, besides all of the press and the publicity and the appointments, and it's a real time of empowerment that I see. So it's a wonderful evolving process. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great to meet you in person. I felt I've known you after seeing the film, but it was really, really great to see you in person, and thank you for coming here tonight. The movie opens tomorrow. You'll be back here on Saturday for 3 o'clock. So if you have more questions, you can come back. Still be here.
Also,
and tell everyone about the movie.
check out Reforming the Energy Vision, or REV.
Thank you.